Welcome, Lily.
Hello.
Gee, it's lovely to have a chat with you today.
You too. Thank you.
I got to look, I'm going to say this probably 50 times during this interview. Your voice is unbelievable. It is believable because you're right here and I've heard you sing. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Wow. You blew me away. I really love we're going to talk about it when we get into it, but when, of course, as I've introduced, you were on The Voice, and boy, you made the hair on my arm stand up when you sung. Wow.
Thank you.
I'm just going to fill you with compliments. It's fantastic. But look, I want to start about, there's quite a few things in your life, and you are an amazing person. And I love that you're, really, really true to who you are. And I think that that's the core value of you, is just that you're going to stand in your ground. You're going to be who you are, and you're going to bring your amazingness to the world. And I'm going to open that up a bit more in the conversation too. But you're just incredible, and I wish more girls could be like you. But let's start at the start. You've been a creative person all your life, and you really love the singing and the performing. When you were 6, you sang Over the Rainbow on stage. Where was that?
That was actually at a primary school talent quest. I just got up on stage and decided to sing it.
What?
I really loved it.
And how did you go? Were people blown away by your voice?
I got a lot of encouragement from people. I think at one point I stopped, and then they were just like, come on. So I kept on going.
How did you feel?
I think I was excited because that's like the first thing that really started my love of music.
Yeah. Did you get off that stage and think, I'm going to be a singer? This is who I am? Yeah.
Yeah. From that point, I just kept on singing and, destroyed everyone's ears.
So you didn't, they usually say that when you've got a saxophone in the house, So that's right, or a violin. They're pretty awful, aren't they, when people are learning? Well, I don't think you will have destroyed anyone's ears. I can imagine that at age 6 you were absolutely booming. And when so I also want to talk about your musicals, because you are very, very keen on musicals and all that sort of stuff, as we mentioned at the start. And what is it about them? Like, what is it about them that you really love?
I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that I like to cry, but in the second act, they always go downhill, and it just really hits you in the feels. It starts all with like some really good songs, and I feel like songs are better when you have a story with them, so you can follow the story and also enjoy the good music.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just reminded me that they probably put the hero's journey in theatre, and I hadn't even considered that before. So they're saying that, they go downhill in the second act and all that kind of stuff. I really love what you're saying there about, feeling the story of the song. And you will have seen it with some of the greater artists on The Voice, and just great artists. When they're singing a song, whether it's their own or somebody else's, I think that's the key, isn't it? And for me as a singer as well, is that when you can actually feel like every word in that song is for you, and you wrote it, and you're expressing it, don't you reckon you sing better?
Yeah, I think you really do. I just try not to get too caught up in it, otherwise it's going to be a mess.
I'm the same. I'll tell you what, my favorite song is Puff the Magic Dragon. And I can never sing it. I can never sing it past, when he doesn't come back, Jackie Paper doesn't come back. And I can't sing that last bit. I just burst into tears, and I say, I have to stop. I don't know, because I'm really in that Yeah, I'm really in that scene, but I love it. So when you watch these musicals, do you like get this kind of bars and imagine yourself in the show?
Yes. Even when I'm watching movies or musicals, I like to imagine how I would learn the acting and learn the lines. I don't know if people do that, but yeah, I just
I'm sure they
uh,
do. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Otherwise, how would they remember it? Do you see yourself on stage like in a lead role or in a support role or something like that?
yes, sometimes. Sometimes I like to imagine just how I would do it.
Do you think that's possible? Like, do you think that's on the cards for you at some point, being in musicals?
Yeah, I think I would really love that because I'm just a theater nerd.
And I think also being a performing nerd, there's something that I don't know if this happens to you, but it happens to me that when you're performing, the rest of the world falls away. Nothing else matters in you? Do you feel that when you perform?
Yeah. When you said that, I had such an urge to start singing a song from Dear Evan Hansen.
Ah, wait, go on. You can do that if you want.
The world falls away. The world falls away. And only
Oh, well, clearly you're not auditioning for my show, or you wouldn't be you wouldn't be laughing. But I think that's true. And I've been, when I used to sing, I'd do 4-hour gigs, and I wouldn't even feel hungry. I wouldn't even notice. I'd probably only drink a glass of water the whole time because I was just in a complete other space. I just wish I could still perform. And I tell you, because as I was telling you before we started, I had my thyroid out and I can't sing anymore. Well, I do, but it's not very pleasant. It's not like it used to be. But I kind of felt like I lost my identity. And I look back now and I think, I wonder if I didn't appreciate it as much as I should have. I think I probably took it for granted. And I think that that's probably a lesson for you. Is that while you've got a voice, and let's hope that you have it for the rest of your life, and it's just, it is who you are. It's such a Do you know how many people say, I wish I could sing? I wish I could do that. It's such a gift, and I think that we shouldn't squander it. We should really, really embrace it. I just love it. Now I guess a bit of background about you is that you lost your cousin, who was just 6 months younger than you when he was 5. And and apparently, from what I hear, you two were really great mates, really close. And how do you think that impacted you?
well, I was pretty young at the time, so I'm not sure I remember that much. But I think that may link to a bit of my connection to musicals and why I love them so much. Because when we were younger, we would there's this one memory of us all singing Hakuna Matata and just dancing around in little Batman costumes.
Ah, and you think that's probably ignited a little passion in you for singing. Yeah, yeah. Do you think you also, on another personal level, you've struggled with anxiety as well since you were 7? Do you think that losing your cousin, even though you don't remember it, do you think that might have maybe triggered some of that stuff?
Yeah, maybe. Because I just felt like it was hard to speak to people and, just go outside sometimes would be really scary and would just cause panic attacks.
Yeah, and you weren't like that before you lost him.
No, not really. I think it just
Mm,
started to build up as I went through school and then, it just reached the limit when I
yeah,
was about 12.
yeah, yeah. And what happened then when you were 12?
Well, it was really hard to go into school and I just got really big panic attacks every time I'd walk in and I would just just get really scared for like no reason. I didn't even know the reason I was anxious. I would just get this pain in my chest and just want to leave.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the voice in a minute, and but while we're on the anxiety thing, I think that you went on The Voice to audition when you were 14, which is only 2 years older than the 12-year-old, where the anxiety peaked. So that in my imagination, it would have been quite stressful and anxiety ridden, to go in to do something as big as The Voice. But before we get there, I also understand that you've learnt to manage it, and you must know how to manage it, because you wouldn't have been able to handle something as big as The Voice. Have you got any tips for young people that might be listening that do feel like they are dealing with anxiety?
Well, I think a thing that really helped is that I had parents who really cared and really knew about mental health and just stuck up for me when it came to mean teachers.
Yeah.
And I would just spend time doing the things I love to distract me. And, when I would go into school, I would spend time with my friends joking, and then they would calm me down whenever I needed it. But as the year went by, I think the anxiety just kind of dissipated a bit. It just kind of left. I don't really know how to describe it, but it just kind of went away.
I think it's interesting what you're saying about the teachers that were mean, and they probably weren't mean. Although I think that when we go to school, I'm not big on schools, because I think that I know we've got to learn. We have to learn to read and write, and we have to learn all that stuff, or we're never going to get jobs. Well, that's not entirely true, but we do need that sort of basic education in our lives. But I think that it's not built for every single person. It's not okay. Like, you're obviously a massive creative. That's creativity is just everything about you. I can just tell by looking at you anyway. You're just filled with all this love and light that comes from another place. It comes from this beautiful creative place. And I think that, when you go into school and we're competing to get that A and competing to get the best result, that doesn't fit creative people. It fits left brain people, but not right brain people. And, I really reckon the education system needs an overhaul, to cater so much better for people. And you hit on a great point there, saying doing things you love. And if only the education system was more focused on finding out what kids' strengths are and what they love, and teaching them in those ways. And I know it's a big task because so many individuals in one class, but I just reckon we could do it so much better, and we would avoid people like you, feeling anxious and having panic attacks, going into spaces that are deliberately set up to compete, and anyway, I could go on about that for hours and hours and hours, because I'm not at all keen on the way it's set up. But tell us about The Voice. I know that everyone listening is going to be like, all right, Karen, stop ranting about what you think about school. Let's get into The Voice, because we want to hear what Lily did. So at the age, you're 15 now. I'm going to, just so we're clear on your age, you were 14, and clearly everybody's got to understand that it wasn't live. Like, this was filmed months and months ago, and these shows take a long, long time to get out there. Otherwise, they'd continue all the time. Now, you're 14. You decided to audition. What made you do that?
Well, I've actually been wanting to audition since I was much younger, because Emily would always watch The Voice at dinner, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's so cool. So this year I finally decided to sign up, and when I got accepted in, I was just like, excuse me?
Really?
Yeah.
So did you have to send in an audition, like a video audition?
Yeah, we had to send in a tape of us singing a song.
And what song did you sing?
The Past is Another Land from Aida.
Yeah. And that got you into to an audition. So did that get you straight into the blind auditions?
No, there were some different sets of like mini auditions and key checks that you had to go through with
Yeah.
the big wigs.
Yeah, yeah, with the big wigs. Yeah, before you hit the chairs. Yeah. So you know, you're like, if you've been thinking about it all your life, you know, oh, I love The Voice, I want to go on there. What was it? What was that thing that you just said, now's the time?
Well, I actually think my mum played a bit of a role in that. She was cruising through Facebook, you know, like mums do.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, hey, an ad for The Voice. Maybe I should ask my daughter if they would like to go. And I was just like, sure, yeah.
No fear?
Well, yeah, I was pretty afraid. But I was just like, you know, there's a chance I might not get in. So that would mean I'm safe. But there is a chance that I could get in. But like, what are the chances of that? I mean, there are much more talented people in Australia. But then I got in and I was like, oh, yeah, this is cool. This is really exciting.
It is exciting. I'll tell you what, it's brought you to so many people's lounge rooms, you know, that you wouldn't have been in before. And I love your philosophy there, you know, is, oh, well, if I don't get in, too bad. It's kind of like, well, I didn't lose anything anyway, because I'm still here in the same place. But if I do get in, you know, who knows? You didn't say this, I'm saying it, but it's the same, you know, who knows where this might lead. And
No bad can come out of it.
yeah, wow, I love it. So, and so I was going to ask you what your parents thought of your decision, but clearly they thought it was a very good decision. Were they very supportive? Were they worried about you? Were they thinking, oh God, is she going to do it?
I feel like they were a bit worried, but altogether they were very supportive of my decision, and you know, they were just looking out for me.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love it. Now, you sang Candle in the Wind. As I said at the very start of this interview, every hair on my body stood up when you sang that song. You've just got this voice that is so mature. I had to look twice. I had sat there staring at you. Like, is it, did they say 14? And your voice was like a really mature adult woman's voice, you know, that's been singing for so long. And you've got this depth and resonance in your voice that is just, it affects you on a frequency level. That's a massive compliment, you know, like there are not many people who can do that. So, and Candle in the Wind is an especially beautiful song. Why did you choose that one?
Well, Elton John is just a really good artist. And I feel like that song can relate to a lot of people because people were trying to make Marilyn Monroe something she wasn't. And this song was just about keeping her memory alive and focusing on the good things that she did. And also, that song is just a really emotional song and it has a good message to it.
Well, see, even that answer is more profound and more mature than a 15-year-old answer. I agree with you. That song is beautiful, and I love the way Elton John has done everything to leave a beautiful legacy for the amazing things that she's done. I love that. You're just on just breaking off The Voice for a minute. I started off, you know, I founded Girls with Hammers, and when I did that, it was to I thought of, because you talked about, you know, people being individuals and that sort of stuff. I wanted girls, and particularly girls your age, not to sexualize themselves and not to make them feel like they've got to sit in this stereotypical box of, you know, being submissive to boys and all that kind of stuff. And when I went to schools to do it, the girls are kind of like, no thanks. You know, I don't really want your message. what I'm seeing from you is that I wish you had have been in the audience when I went to one of those schools, because you seem to me to be this young female who says, I don't have to be like all the other girls. That you've got this real unique, it's like, again, advanced for your years, this knowing of who you are. And it's kind of like, I'm standing in my ground and I know who I am. And I want to be known for me, not for one of a bunch of many. Do you know what I mean? Have I got you right? Is that what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because a lot of girls, they don't wear what they want to wear because they're afraid of sticking out. But what they don't realize is that probably every other girl is thinking the same thing. Oh, I wish I could wear this, but people would give me weird looks on the street. But if you want to wear it, then just wear it. Chances are another girl is going to see you and think, wow, she's really brave. I really love her outfit. Because honestly, at the end of their day, it's just about supporting each other. Because it's not bad to be like other girls, because you're your own person, and chances are they're going to be nice about it.
100%. I really love when you're on The Voice. I love the clothes you wear. You just look, I don't know, you just look great. But I remember saying to my partner, I love this girl. She is doing what she wants, wearing what she wants, and she's standing in her space. And for me, they're the people I love. And when you said something, I can't remember what you said, but what you triggered in me is that we're more attracted to people, like, just, we find them, what's the word I can't think of what I'm looking for. We're more inspired by people who are standing in their own ground. The people who are confident, the people who are doing their thing. They don't care what other people think about them. They're the people that we all aspire to be, or to be like. I just love that you're doing that. I just love that you're sending that message to girls to be who you are and be proud of who you are. Just, be proud of who you are. And I think that when we try to be like everybody else, we lose our uniqueness. We lose, like we said before, the gift that whatever every single individual comes with a unique set of gifts and talents. And when we try to fit in with everybody else, it's like we dilute them. They're not so special anymore. I really love what you're doing, and I love where you're standing. I love that you've got your stake, you've slammed it into the ground and said, this is Lily's space, like it or lump it. I think that's fantastic. Now, tell us about the process. So leading up to the blinds, you had to go through a whole lot of different auditions, different steps and everything. Then you get to the blinds. Then you're like, yes, you've made it through. They tell you you've made it through and you're going to sing on stage to the judges. How are you feeling?
Well, I was really excited. The night that I got the email about that, I was actually outside of Sydney because I was seeing a musical, of course.
Yeah.
And so I was in the country, and I just checked my phone after some reading, and I was like, hey, Mom. So I went over to her and we texted the fam, and they were excited.
That's fantastic. And so then you, where did they film it? Did they film it in Sydney or was it somewhere else?
Yeah, they did. They filmed it in the city.
Yeah, in Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. And so then you've got excited, text the family. Then you've gone back in, you've stood on that stage, right? Now, you got to walk through that door? Even all of us watching at home, our anxiety goes up a little watching people walk through that door. You walked out on that stage. How did you feel?
Well, I think in that time I felt pretty nervous, but
Mm.
I was kind of just focusing on my footsteps, so I didn't think about it much. I was just like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, look, there's the microphone. Stop.
God, I wish we could all think like that. That would take a lot of the nerves away. So you sang, and be, the most one of the most probably the most beautiful version I've ever heard of Candle in the Wind. To be honest, better than Elton John. Like that was just, it was exquisite. It was incredible. You're standing there singing this most beautiful song. Nobody's turning their chairs. They're just, what were you thinking? Like, oh, nobody's going to turn. Were you thinking that?
Um, well, I was thinking that a little bit. I was getting a bit nervous, but honestly, I think I just got kind of caught up in the moment that I wasn't thinking at all. I
Yeah.
was just focusing on singing, so that when Jess did turn around, I was just like, "Oh, damn, um, this is really cool,"
Yeah.
and I was really relieved.
Yeah, and she kind of left it right to that very last slide, and then she turns around. Now she turns around and she's just looking at you. What's happening? I could literally see in the footage you took a little gasp. It was just like this tiny little gasp in the middle of that last line. When you're there looking at Jess, she's looking at you. Wow, what a moment! What a profound moment. You reckon?
Yeah, I was just like, when she looks at me, and I look at her, and she looks at me. Uh, yeah, I just tried to finish the song without making a weird noise.
It was amazing. I reckon Jess would have no, I don't, I love speaking for other people because that's just what I do. But yeah, I reckon Jess would have looked at you and thought the same as me. Is that how the hell is that voice coming out of that person? Like I'm sure she expected to turn around and find an older woman, singing that song, and her face was like, wow, what am I seeing here? So what was it like working with her as a coach?
Well, I didn't get to spend that much time with her, but from the time I did spend with her, she seemed like a genuinely nice person. She seemed like a really sweet and caring person. She
Yeah.
reminds me of one of my older friends from primary school, actually.
she I she does come across as very honest, very authentic, and very kind and warm, and I think that sometimes they can say they are, but you can tell in their behavior that they're not. But she seems to be really congruent, with all of that stuff. So what was your biggest learning or the biggest moment, from that whole experience?
Well, I feel like I got to actually know what goes on behind all the cameras,
Mm.
and I think I was comforted by that a bit.
Yeah.
Uh, and because, you know, I feel like I was kind of worrying, can I do it? Can I get there? But now I won't have to worry. I'll know that I have the courage to stand up and do it.
And in future you'll be able to do like audition for musicals and stuff like that. And did you, like, when you're talking about having anxiety issues, and you you sort of peaked at 12, and then a couple of years later you auditioned and you're okay, did you have this underlying thing, oh my god, I don't know what to expect, what if I have a panic attack when I'm about to step? Did you think about that sort of stuff before you stepped out?
Yeah, I did have a bit of a worry about that, but then I guess I just told myself, it is what it is. It's gonna happen, and you can't change that. So, meh.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. More people need to take a leaf out of your book, because even I, and people I know at my age, we still panic about, not panic, but we still worry about stuff. And, really at the end of the day, it's not going to change anything anyway, is it? It is what it is, and that's the way it is. So, what would you have done if nobody turned?
Well, I think I would have been disappointed, but I think I would have just been proud of myself from going up there. And because I think I would have been proud of myself just for being chosen to get to the blind auditions, because I know a lot of people wanted that and I got it. So I think I just would have been proud of myself for going up there.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think you got to the next round as well. It wasn't just the one. And I reckon you've got to be proud of that. Like you've got to be proud of that, because what look, it takes courage. It's an experience. It's also it's validation for you. To prove that you can do it, that you are good enough to be there. And and another thing too is I've heard, and your mum told me this, but so many other young girls have been contacting you saying what an inspiration you are. Is that true?
Yeah, I love seeing those messages from younger people like me with the same interests, because it's good to know that you're not the only one out there. Because when some girls say, I'm not like other girls, I'm quirky, trying to exclude themselves from other girls, I think that's kind of rude, because they're basically saying that other girls aren't good. Because it's not an insult to be like other girls, because it's good to find your people.
100%. 100%. There's a good book by Jim Rohn, or a good saying, and he says, you're the sum of the five. So you are the sum of the five people you hang with. And it's, if you're hanging with people that well, I guess they don't all have to be the same as you, but if they're like-minded and they accept you and they understand you, and they support you, I think, that's when you're in a good place, really, aren't you? Yeah. And I think that people that can be completely different can still be best friends. But are they willing to support each other? Are you willing to support each other? And is every friendship that you have, and this is what I find important, is that friendship building you or diminishing you? And I think that's really important. And if you're building each other, no matter your differences, then that's a damn good friendship. That's a really good friendship. Now, the last question on the voice, you gave all the judges a pair of shoes. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
What made you think about that?
Well, I was decorating some shoes before, and I was just playing with some fabric pens, and I was just like, hey, you know what would be cool? If I gave them shoes. How I know their foot size is a mystery. You shall never know.
That was going to be my next question, but you're not going to tell us, are you?
I'm magic. Keep it a secret.
I absolutely love that. All right. Well, we shall never know. My listeners shall never know. And we're just going to have to believe that forever and a day that Lily is magic. So let's just do that. But I reckon that was such a great gift. Really, really love. And there's even photos. There's photos on the voice page, of Rita and Jess looking at their shoes and reading your note and that sort of stuff. That's a memory. You know what? You have provided them a memory that they're never going to forget that. They are never going to forget that. Someone gave us shoes and a beautiful handwritten note. That's, but not only just shoes that you actually created the artwork for. I think that's beautiful, and actually shows the measure of your heart as well, just wanting to give something just for the sake of giving. It's all right. You can take a compliment. This podcast is full of compliments and love. It's now. While we've been talking, you've not only burst into a few musical songs for us, and even throughout your laughter as well, but you also do voice impressions. I'm not going to do it. You mimic. I always do the You know what? I always mimic the on American shows when they all ring, they go 555. That's about my limit of voice impressions. But you apparently do tons of them. Go on, give us a couple.
Okay. Well, here's Kermit the Frog. Here goes. Hey, it's your boy Kermit the Frog. I hope you're doing a good day. Just make sure you love yourself, or I will steal your kneecaps.
That's fantastic. All right, give us another one.
Okay. Here's Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. This is Berk. It's 12 days north of Hopeless and a few degrees south of freezing to death. It's located solidly on the meridian of misery. My village in a sword, sturdy. It's been here for 7 generations, but every single building is new. We've got hunting, fishing, and a charming view of sunsets. The only problems are the pests. Most places have mice or mosquitoes. We have dragons.
I tell you, I'm not familiar with that one, so I'm going to have to go and watch that, aren't I? That is fantastic. Do you think that maybe you could do voiceovers?
Oh, I would like to do that someday, probably.
That would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I feel like that would be really fun.
You really do step into character, don't you? When you're doing something.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Before when you were talking about, you weren't thinking about the judges' chairs turning because you were just in that moment. That's such a, I hope you realize that is such a gift, to be able to completely block the world out, and to truly immerse yourself in that moment. That's so special. I reckon you should do voiceovers. I reckon you have got, this is just, like I'll be looking in my crystal ball for you. Okay. I reckon you have got the most incredible future. So many opportunities in anything performing, anything, because you've got it. You know how to stand in that space, and you know how to really, truly feel it, be in it, and express in that moment. And that's a real gift. That's magical.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. I love it. Now, I'm going to ask you a really hard question. It might actually be very easy. If you could you've got a giant stage, right? The biggest stage in the world. You've got the whole world listening to you. What's your message?
Well, maybe I think I'd say there aren't really good sides and bad sides. There aren't really good people and bad people. There are only people who do the things that they want to do, and other people who have different views on those things.
So we should just accept people, because I always say the only true communication is the interpretation of the receiver. Did that all make sense in that mouthful? That's kind of what you're saying, isn't it? That people do their thing and then we interpret and perceive it in our way, and we make our own judgments. We attach our own beliefs and all that sort of stuff to what we see people present, don't we? Yeah.
Is really how it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, good message. If we could just love and accept each other, I think we just wouldn't have, I reckon we'd eliminate 95% of the problems in the world if we could just accept each other and support each other. Mm. So where to from here? What's next for Lily B, the artist?
Well, right now is kind of COVID times.
Yeah.
So right now, probably staying inside. But when some more musical opportunities or some acting opportunities come up, I will be sure to give it a go.
I love that. And you're already doing, though, well, when you can do it safely, when working around COVID, you're already part of some theatre companies, aren't you? You're doing some of that sort of stuff already. Yeah. And so is it on hold at the moment because of COVID?
Yes, but right now we are kind of doing online meetings of the rehearsals.
Oh wow! Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Wouldn't quite be the same, but it would be different. If you could be whatever you want, like, you know, the world's your oyster. There it is. You choose your profession, choose your career, choose where you want to be. What would that be?
Honestly, I would just be wanting to do musicals all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'd want to do.
Do you can see yourself doing musicals when you're an adult, can't you? Yeah. Oh, boy, geez. You bring that voice to the musical stage, people won't know what hit them. I can't be the only person. I can't be the only person who listened to you and thought, cool, bloody hell, what is that? What is that voice? You know, like, I know if anyone's listening, I'm watching, we've got the Zoom. So you need to go, if you're only listening to this on podcast, you need to go to the YouTube and have a listen, look at Lily, because every time she tries to say thank you, I'm talking over top of her. Poor thing. She keeps saying thank you and I just keep talking. But anyway, geez, you've got a voice that's just out of this world. And I know I just keep saying it, but everyone who knows me, everyone who listens to this knows that I just keep repeating myself. When I get on a bit of a buzz, I just keep saying it. But you are just bloody amazing. You really are. The world needs you. The world needs you out there on the stages, bringing joy and just lighting up people's souls. The world needs that. You are just a genuine gift to this world. Oh, wow. All right, I'll stop because I'll keep going. I'll just keep singing your praises and you won't know what to say.
My face hurts from smiling.
People say that. You know what? I'm proud of myself. People say this is the best podcast they've ever been on. Where so many people say that because they just feel loved. And I love that. I love extending love to people. It's so good.
Well, you're a really encouraging person.
Thank you. I call myself the world's greatest cheerleader.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Silly. Now, this podcast is a Get Off the Bench podcast, and it's to inspire people to take action, because I want people to do their thing, to feel great about themselves and back themselves and give it a go. What advice would you give to other young people, or it could be older people, that just doesn't matter, who have a dream tucked deep inside of them, but they don't have the courage to set that dream free? Even if it's just to see what happens, what would you say?
Well, I think I'd say don't leave it till the last minute. Just do it right now. Because if in a long time you haven't done it, then you're just going to feel regretful and you're going to hate yourself from not doing it.
Yeah.
So just do it.
Get off the bench.
Yeah.
100%. You know, I wrote my first book. I've written 2 books. I wrote my first book, Magnificent Kids. And you would have been in it. I tell you what, if I had known you would have been in that. It was in 2014. But it wasn't until, I didn't write that until I was 50. You know, I did a lot of great things before that, but I didn't actually, really put my stake in the ground until I was 50. And I look back and I think, and I'm not going to regret it, because otherwise I'll just go down that whole self-destruction path of, you stupid fool, why didn't you do it earlier? All that kind of stuff. I'm not going to do that to myself. But I do think about, wow, had I done something much earlier, what else could I have achieved? You know, all those years could have been filled with great projects. So I'm with you 100%. Start now. Every single day we don't do something, it's a day we can never have back. So 100%, 100%. Now, where can people find you?
Well, I have an Instagram account, Lily B Artist, and a Facebook one too. And I have a TikTok account too, if anyone wants that.
Well, people might want that. So I don't know how to link a TikTok account. I've got no bloody clue. But I will definitely put your Insta and Facebook links, you know, in the show notes so that people can connect with you. But and I hope they do. And you know, and the other thing I was going to say too, and I nearly closed off without saying this. I was looking at some of your art, like we've talked about your performance, you know, and that sort of stuff. And we touched on your art with the shoes, you know, that you did for the judges. But your artwork is amazing. Like this is where I've so concluded that you are just this amazing beam of creative light, you know, like, and then there was a picture of harp seals, you know, baby harp seals that you'd done. And I've got such an affiliation. Yeah, I hate the ocean. I'm scared of it. You know, absolutely terrified I'm going to drown. But the ocean creatures, you know, the seals and the particularly the harp seals in. Well, let's touch on this because I know you're a bit of you love your justice a little bit, you know, and baby harp seals. I don't want to go down a whole morbid thing right at the end of our podcast, but you know, they get a raw deal in Canada. You know, they people go and kill them for their fur and take them off their parents and off their mums, or they kill their mums. I tell you what, I get my blood boils when I see that, and I know that you feel the same. And I know that you did a presentation to primary school about caged hens and how cruel that is, and people still buy bloody cage eggs, and I have no idea because they're a bit cheaper. I've got no. People need to see it, and thank you for presenting that to your primary school and actually caring enough and being aware enough that animals go through. As human beings, we need to be much, much, much better the way we treat other humans, the way we treat animals, and the way we treat the planet. And we've got to get much better at it. And thank you for being such a strong advocate for that, because the world needs, much more of that sort of stuff. So again, I can't sing your praises enough. But my pleasure. But that picture of those harp seals is just, it looks alive. Like you've just done it so well that it looks alive. So I'm going to encourage everybody, go and get onto her pages, Insta and Facebook, Lily B Artist, and go and follow her. Have a look at what she's doing, because it's bloody brilliant. Lily, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank
you so much for having me. It was really fun.
It's my absolute pleasure. I love the fun. I love everything else. But what I love that you've brought to this podcast is integrity and honesty and your true self. And that's just absolutely beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you.
My absolute pleasure. And I hope to meet you in person one day.
You too. It was really nice talking to you.
Thank you so much. All right, I'll chat soon.
You too. Thank you.
See ya.